Howdy, guys. Welcome to night 59 of Big Brother All-Stars. This is Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. A good Saturday morning to y'all. Hope everyone's doing great. We had, again, as y'all all know, on Thursday, we had the triple eviction. There are only 6 people left in the house, which makes every nomination ceremony just a little more interesting. We did have the nomination ceremony yesterday. It actually didn't take place until fairly late in the evening, but we had the nomination ceremony. So now we know who's on the block, and we know what kind of scheming and campaigning is going on as a result of it. So let's get right into it. First of all, again, nominations were completed. They were done probably about 6 o'clock or so Big Brother time. What's that, 9 o'clock on the East Coast. And the nominees are Tyler and Christmas. No huge surprise that Cody put the two of them up. We were fully expecting it based on previous conversations, but it's official now. Tyler and Christmas are on the block. Should be a veto competition sometime today. It's going to be, as we always say every single week, this is the most important veto competition of the entire season. Well, this one's pretty important. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. A lot of talk about it this evening, so we'll get into all those conversations. Let's start off in the HOH room. This is right after the nominations have been completed, or at least once the feeds come back. Nicole and Cody are talking. Nicole is telling Cody that she really wants to win this veto really bad so that she can make a big speech at the veto ceremony. We'll see. She hasn't won anything yet, but she wants to win so she can make the speech. Cody is saying, look, if the veto is used, then it's probably Memphis that's going to go up as a replacement, regardless of who comes off. And I fully expect that is what would happen. But we'll talk about some scenarios as well in a second. Later in the HOH room, Cody is still up there. This time he's talking to Christmas. Christmas has come up after the nominations to try to kind of soothe things over with Cody, as often happens. Christmas is getting fairly emotional. She's crying a little bit. And she's doing that while she's saying she's not playing an emotional game. But she also does tell Cody that today was also Loyal's birthday. So it isn't all Cody. It isn't all her being nominated. It's just things at home she's thinking about, her child and all that. But she is a little emotional. But she's telling Cody that I'm not like Kevin. I'm not going to make this a tit for tat. I won't be a bitter juror, Cody. And she's also saying, this happened here, me getting nominated. I hate that, but I think we can repair the damage by the end of the week, and we'll still be good, Cody. So she's trying to smooth things over just in case she survives and she needs, wants to try to continue to work with them. But she does tell him, says, but here's the thing, Cody, I am planning to win this veto. And once I do, then let's get back together and talk again, because things will be different. And I really want to see what we can do together. So, Cody tells her, yeah, go out and win it. Fight and win it. It's the last thing that Cody wants to happen. All right, in the photo room, Tyler and Enzo are speaking. Tyler's still upset, saying, man, this sucks. I was nominated just because I voted against Nicole last night. And Enzo said, yo, that's not really why you were nominated. Enzo's right. Tyler voting against Nicole on Thursday night, that's the excuse that's being used. Cody even said that Tyler and Christmas both voting to send Nicole out the door just gave him the perfect excuse to put both of them up. That's not the reason. It's just the excuse, Tyler. But that's what Tyler's saying. Enzo is telling Tyler, saying, yo, man, I'm really thinking on Thursday I should have voted to send Nicole out the door. I really wish I'd had. Well, talk is cheap, Enzo, and you didn't do it. I've been going back and forth. I'm not real sure if that would have been a better move for Enzo or not. On the one hand, Cody and Nicole are so tight. To break the two of them up would have been interesting. As it is, we kind of have almost a 3-on-3 relationship, it seems like. Cody, Enzo, and Nicole on one side, Tyler, Christmas, and Memphis on the other side, 3-on-3 to some degree. If Nicole had gone home, it would have left Cody a little bit more alone, but we would have had a whole lot of overlapping duos of two. From a viewer standpoint, it would have been a little more interesting, I think. From Enzo's standpoint, I don't know. I don't know if it would have been better for him to send Nicole out or not in terms of Enzo's own personal game, not the viewers, but his game. But he's saying, I'm kind of thinking I should have sent Nicole out at this point in time. Of course, he's telling Tyler that. He may not really believe that. I don't think he really believes that. But that's what he's telling Tyler. Uh, Tyler is saying, look, the only way that you and me and Cody make the final three is if we win all the comps from here on out. That's the only way we make the final three that we won't. Well, I'm sorry, Tyler. I just don't think that you're necessarily part of Cody's final three plan, or Enzo's for that matter. Tyler is saying that the best case for him really is for Enzo to win the veto and then pull Tyler off, which will force Memphis, or would result in Memphis going up on the block. But here's the thing. Would Enzo use the veto if he wins it to pull Tyler off? I'm not as certain of that as Tyler is. We'll talk about that more in a second. Finally, Tyler says, look, if I get pulled off, I'm going to vote out Christmas just to appease Cody, just so he knows that we can still work together. And I'd be more than willing to do that. Tyler also says that he's going to tell Cody that he'll agree to take Nicole to a Final Four. Nicole, Cody, Enzo, and Tyler, perfect. I'll tell Cody I'm more than willing to do that. All right, in the have-not room, Enzo and Nicole are talking. Enzo, talking about the conversation he just had with Tyler, Enzo doesn't think that, or a little bit different conversation. Enzo doesn't think that Memphis would use the veto if he wins it. But he says, but if Memphis does use the veto, he's going to create enemies. Well, if Memphis uses the veto, it's going to force Cody to put up either Nicole or Enzo as a replacement nom. So, yeah, Enzo and Nicole would not be happy at all, and it certainly would create enemies if Memphis uses it. But he still may. Nicole can't believe that Memphis is still in the game. She thinks he is a complete ass. She added a little extra to that verbiage, but I'll just leave it at that. Enzo is saying that, yeah, you don't like Memphis, but I also don't like Christmas anymore. I got to say, I knew, guys, that we're going to have some bitter people, some egos involved and all, but I still hate to see the personal attacks starting to dominate some of these conversations. I just don't like it, but I get it. All right. Both are agreeing that keeping Tyler is best. So Memphis will then go after Tyler instead of going after someone else. They're also talking about how important it is to protect Cody next week when he won't be eligible for HOH. They may have a point. That's probably true. Cody, of those three, Cody is really the only one that's a huge competition threat so far. So they probably do want to keep Cody and hope that he can drag them just a little bit further into the game. All right. They're both also excited to maybe be getting family videos soon. I never got them during my season. I hated that. We were waiting for so long, never got them. Nicole is saying she only wants to hang out with Enzo and Cody now. And she's wondering, getting back to the conversation that Enzo had with Tyler, she's wondering why Tyler thinks Enzo would actually use the veto if he won it. Really, Tyler needs to win the veto if he wants to come off. I think that's the only way that Tyler gets pulled off the block this week. Enzo is saying how bad Christmas is going to be pestering all of them this week. He's saying, I think I'm just going to lie to her just so she'll leave me alone. In the key room, Memphis and Christmas are talking. They're talking college sports, tailgates, non-game related, but talking college sports. So let me just take a moment to say, Giga Maggies, beat the hell out of Bama. Woo! All right, moving on. In the key room, Christmas is talking to the camera. She's saying that Tyler can't win veto. She just doesn't want him to win veto. Christmas really needs to win the veto to protect herself as well. Now, maybe Memphis maybe would pull her off, but just to be certain, she needs to win herself. She's saying that if Cody or Nicole make it to the end, each one of them would win. If either one makes it, obviously against each other, who knows? But if one of them makes it to the end, she thinks they'll win. She's wondering if she can beat anyone in a final two. That's a good question. I'm thinking that she maybe could beat Memphis, but maybe. She's not going to have the women's vote. And would she have Cody's or Enzo's? I doubt it. So she may be dead man walking at this point in time. If Memphis wins a veto, she really wants him to use it and make Enzo jump a bit. Now, this is really interesting. Think about this, guys, for a second. If Memphis wins the veto, pulls Christmas off, then Cody has to make a renomination. He can't put up Memphis or Christmas. He has to put up either Enzo or Nicole. It really would force Cody to show his cards to Enzo and Nicole about who maybe is the most important to him, because not only that, but then Christmas and Memphis would be the two votes that control who goes home. So it's a risky operation for whoever gets renominated from Cody. So Cody would be forced to show his cards. I wouldn't mind seeing that just from a viewer standpoint. to see what happens. So keep that in mind. If Memphis wins veto, he could really stir some stuff up and make life difficult for Cody. All right, in the have not room, Nicole and Cody are talking. Nicole is upset because Tyler told Enzo that Enzo needs to win the veto and pull Tyler off, because Nicole and Cody are a duo, and Christmas and Memphis are a duo, and so Tyler and Enzo need to be a duo as well. Cody is saying, look, that just shows how important it is that one of us win this veto. Cody's talking about his conversation with Christmas, saying she felt so bad, but I see right through it. I don't believe it for a second. I see through what Christmas is doing. So in the HOH room, Memphis and Enzo are talking. Memphis is telling Enzo, look, we got to win the veto and keep nominations the same so that Tyler goes home. He says that the best case may be Christmas winning the veto, which would mean then that Cody nominates someone else, probably puts up Memphis, almost certainly puts up Memphis. At that point, what Memphis is thinking is that Enzo and Christmas would control the vote and Tyler goes home. Memphis, be careful what you wish for, because Enzo may vote to send you out the door instead. Memphis is saying that they have to get rid of Tyler and Nicole first, and then Christmas and Cody, Enzo, and Memphis could go to the final four. Memphis is upset that, according to Nicole, Christmas and Tyler both told Nicole that Memphis was the one behind this vote flip, or trying to get the votes flipped to send Nicole out the home. He's not happy with Christmas. He later says that, he's not going to bring it up with her because he's going to try to maintain the peace. They're both saying they need to clip Nicole from Cody. Memphis believes it. Enzo, maybe. Memphis is saying they have to keep Christmas this week. Memphis doesn't think Cody or Nicole have a final two deal, and that Cody would be okay cutting Nicole loose. Memphis, my friend, if you don't think that the two of them have a final two, or Cody's okay with Nicole going, you got to reevaluate the situation at the moment. Cody comes in at that point. Memphis again talks about how upset he is with Christmas, but again says, I'm not going to raise a stink about it. Let's see what else. Memphis, no one's believing Memphis was behind the flip. They're all aware that Tyler and Christmas went to the love room immediately after he won the veto. So it's really showing how tight the two of those are, and they are in the final two. Memphis is saying Tyler's enemy number one, and we need to keep Christmas and send Tyler home. They all say, look, after the nominations are locked, after the veto ceremony, we'll get together. We'll talk about who to send to jury. Everyone's laughing because Christmas told Cody that she has never said anything bad about Nicole ever. Now, here's something interesting. During the live vote on Thursday, Enzo's giving us some behind the scenes during the vote. Enzo says that when Danny was on the block Thursday, that when Christmas got up to go to vote, she said, wonder who I'm voting for, and then said, today is going to be a great day, and then skipped into the diary room to vote. When she came back out, she then said, that felt so good. Sure, I'm glad that Christmas didn't play in a personal game, right? Now I understand why Danny was just that extra bit of bitter when she was talking to Julie, and when she got evicted, wouldn't give Christmas a hug. I get it, Danny. I absolutely get it. All right, so in the photo room, Tyler and Enzo are talking. Tyler's laughing. He said, man, Enzo, I'm going to tell Nicole that I didn't vote to evict her. Someone flipped. It wasn't me. They're kind of a la David and Ian and the whole Nicole's voting flip and all that stuff. It's pretty funny. Both are talking about how great Cody's game is and that he's winning it all if he makes it to final two. They're probably right. Tyler is saying how much they need to get Nicole away from Cody. Tyler's also certain that Memphis will put up Cody and Nicole if he wins HOH. I could see that. And finally, they have a memorial countdown to get the lights turned off like David always tried. David always would lay back and count down, say, please turn off lights, Big Brother, do a countdown. It never worked. So they lay down, they tried in memory of David, and it works. Thank you, Big Brother. That was really funny. All right, so finally, Cody is talking to the cameras in the HOH room. Really, there's no game discussion at this point in time. Mainly, he's talking about how hard it is to play this game, to be that you just get paranoid 24/7 in this game, and it just can drive you bonkers, and it's just such a difficult game to play. And he is right, especially as I said last night as well. At this stage in the game, that's paranoia and the stress really gets to you like nothing else. A most incredible experience. But he does that while going through eating a lot of his have-not cheeses and hams and things like that. And at that point, everyone's in bed. They all went to bed just a little bit earlier because they're getting ready for the veto competition tomorrow. Christmas is thinking it could be BB Comics. We'll see. That would be a fun one. All right, guys, y'all have a fantastic Saturday. I will be back tomorrow morning. We'll talk about, we'll know what happened with the veto and everything that's involved with that. Y'all have a great one, guys. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.